What is going on, my friends? Today we're talking about the krypt, and in particular the krypt epics, which are super bad, to be honest with you. Just did another run. I already purchased MK11 Fujin, so there is nothing for me to grind in the krypt, but if I don't have anything to do at all in MK Mobile, sometimes I just do krypt runs hoping to get a drop, krypt gear drop. And today I decided that it is a good idea to check all the gear from the krypt and see whether it is even worth keep grinding for the gear. And to be honest with you, the answer to this question is not really, especially when it comes to the epics. This is a perfect example, the krypt gear, where the blueprint is actually much better, and I mean much better than the epics. I mean, every single one of those pieces, with exception for the Midnight Stalker sight, which isn't really incredible, but the Necromancer Forbidden Book, the Enigmatic Lantern, and the Noble Graceful Thread, they are amazing pieces of gear. Today, though, we are going to be talking about the epics, and I believe the epics in the krypt are super bad, really super bad. And I wouldn't even recommend people buying them in the krypt store, unless you don't have brutality or friendship gear, and you just require one piece in order to complete the brutality gear, brutality setup. If this is the case, then it's, of course, if you, for instance, have the Necromancer Forbidden Book, but you don't have the Necromancer Dead Favor, then it is worth getting one copy of the Necromancer Dead Favor from the krypt store so that you can complete a brutality set. This is super important because certain fights in towers require brutality set in order to beat the fight easier compared to using Death Mark or stuff like this. And sometimes certain gears actually counter Death Mark. For instance, there is a gear from the Ultron Tower, I just forget, Jinsei Hat, I forgot its name. Jinsei Hat counters Death Mark, so the only way you can make sure that he's going to die is to brutalize him. That's why brutality or friendship setup is pretty awesome. It doesn't really matter which one, you just need to have one brutality set so that you can make sure that you can brutalize certain annoying characters in towers. With that said, today we're talking about the epics. We're going to basically look at them one by one, and by the end of the video you will know why they actually totally suck, with the exception for one epic. Isn't it ironic? Out of the 4 rares, only one is kind of not really great, and out of the 4 epics, only one is actually very good. That's crazy. Anyways, the first one, the Enigmatic Well of Souls. 46% basic attack unblockable chance while the character is not affected by any debuff. What? This is so underwhelming. This is super underwhelming on an epic piece. And to be honest, this is Fusion 8. Fusion 8. I would say that it's kind of understandable if the percent wasn't 46, but was like 76. I would say, okay, that's cool. But 46%, which basically means that maximum fusion is you give it 50% basic attack and blockable chance. But guess what? You can get a regular rare piece that will give you 45% block breaking chance on basic attacks no matter what. And here on an epic at Fusion 10, it will give you 50, but as long as the character is not affected by any debuff. Super bad. It is super underwhelming. The next thing, 90% chance to apply Curse and Combo Ender for 20 seconds. I reckon this is good, but it isn't something incredible, though it can be useful against bosses, because Curse Combo Ender 20 seconds, as long as you're critting all the time, that's going to be great. However, again, this is not really something extremely great. Now, the Shansung set, you know, let's not talk about it, and look at the effect you unlock at Fusion 10. I mean, the Shansung effect is just okay. On tagging, Shansung invokes the Well of Souls to the opponent. It applies around the buff once in 12 seconds. Just okay. Nothing incredible. I would even say it's mediocre. But look at this. Fusion 10. After 25 successful critical attacks, Power Drain applies to the opponent. Don't get me wrong. This isn't horrible. You basically guarantee that the enemy will never have power. However, it is extremely horrible on an effect that you unlock at Fusion 10 on an epic piece. If this was, let's say, the second effect or the first effect, the piece would be much better. But having this thing at maximum fusion to unlock super underwhelming stuff, this piece is one of the worst epics in the game, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Super bad. I mean, only the Curse and Combo Ender is good, and the basic attack unblockable, as long as you're not affected by the buffs, I have no clue to describe how bad this thing is. Like, the moment you get set on fire or anything, you lose the blockable chance. So you need to make sure that you bring also gear that makes sure that you're immune to all the buffs, so that you have basic attack and blockable chance. So bad. Super bad. This piece is probably 3 or 4 out of 10. This is how bad it is, if I have to grade it, the Enigmatic Well of Souls. Let's take a look at the rare, by the way. Enigmatic Lantern. 23% critical hit chance boost, no matter what. Awesome. 28% resistance to all debuffs. Awesome. And look at this. All opponent team character need to collect 30% more power to fill up each power bar. The epic piece is 3 times worse compared to the rare piece. Like, wow. Anyways, the Necromancer Dead Favor. 45% max health boost. This is just okay, but nothing incredible. Just, I mean, the health boost, I almost never pay attention to it when I play MK Mobile. But I'm not saying it's bad, it's not really worth, but I'm trying not to get hit. So the health doesn't really matter in, let's say, 90% of the fights. 40% opponent unblockable chance reduction. If you're, I mean, again, the point is you're not trying to get hit. Like, but anyways, it is just decent defensive stats so far. Quan Chi, green skull appears on the head of the current enemy with a 75% chance of performing special 1. This skull charges with energy after the user every successful combo ender. It explodes after the 3rd combo ender, applying slow and dealing high damage to the opponent. Like, just okay, nothing special. And now look at this. Each next special attacks deal 15% more damage than the previous attack up to 4 times. So in a way, you can increase your damage special attack by 60%. Again, this isn't anything exceptional on something that you unlock at Fusion 10. This piece is probably, I don't know, slightly better than the Enigmatic Well of Souls, but it's just underwhelming. Again, nothing special. Now let's take a look at the rare piece, the Necromancer Forbidden Book. 30% all attack unblockable chance, just okay. 50% chance to apply snare on special attack 2, super good. And look at this, gain power upon targeting 50 seconds, extremely good. Again, the rare piece is much better than the epic piece, which is sad, but it's the case. Noble Dainty Gesture, 36% critical hit chance boost, this is good. 36% special attack damage boost against opponents affected by any debuff, this is also good. Kitana, each 1 critical hit applies a wound to the opponent. Each 12 wound stack applies a negative effect in the sequence, bleed, cripple, slow. Use a successful special attack, explode all wounds, inflicting additional damage on the opponent and applying shield on the user. The problem is that you need to do 12 stacks. And this is super bad. Now, granted, if you max this piece, it actually starts working pretty well because from 12, the required stacks goes down to 5. And this makes the piece super, super good. But generally, the thing that you unlock at Fusion X, again, is kind of underwhelming. For each active debuff of the opponent, use a special attack power cost reduced by 10%. Now, the only thing that you can actually rely on this by having, let's say, all the time special attack reduction by 20 or 30%. And by doing that, you can more or less spam special 1. And I can think of another possible use of this is to use it for X-ray. I hope it works. So instead of 100% as a 3 bars of power, the X-ray is going to cost you 1.5 bars of power. That's going to be pretty awesome. But as long as you need to make sure first to have an enemy that has 5 debuffs, which is super difficult to achieve. So this piece, compared to the others, the other 2, is better. I would say that this is like mid-range, slightly above mid-range, to be honest, probably 6 or 7 out of 10. Again, it gives critical hit chance. It increases your special attack damage, which is super cool. I mean, 36% is always useful. At maximum fusion, I reckon it's going to be powerful. However, at low fusion, it is just okay. You can use it, but it isn't something extraordinary. And on Kitana, it works super bad because at Fusion 0, it requires 15 critical hits. I mean, by doing 15 critical hits, usually you're going to kill the enemy. Or if your Kitana is low fusion, why do you play Kitana low fusion? Anyways, now, to be honest with you, if you compare this piece to the regular piece for the rare piece, again, the rare piece is superior. 26% chance to apply snare combo ender. Incredible. Critical hits gain 34% more power upon impact. Super good. This piece enables so many characters to start fighting and chaining their abilities in faction wars everywhere, actually. So, a very useful piece. And 60% chance to gain shield for 5 seconds before any attack special attack. Super cool. This piece, again, in my opinion, is better, even though it's not much better, but it's slightly better than the Epic piece, even at Fusion X. Granted, I never tested them both at Fusion X, but currently, if I have to choose between using the Noble Gesture or the Noble Graceful Tread, I'll probably use the armor most of the times because I find it super useful. Alright, and we got to the only epic piece outside of the 4 that is really good. Unfortunately, this piece has one main drawback that is super good only on one character, on Jason. If you use it on other characters, it is trash. I mean that. Absolute trash. Successful basic attacks have a 20% chance to vampire 60% damage. That's not really great at all. Gain Dispel every 20 seconds. I guess this will save you if you're crippled or if you are, let's say, snared and you cannot dispel, so you can wait and every 20 seconds you're going to get saved. So that's cool. And the beautiful thing is that the timer goes down with each fusion. So if you have fusion 1, you're going to gain dispel every 90 seconds. So the dispel part is good, however, very situational. And look at this. Jason Voorhees. This is what makes this piece godlike. Under 25% health, Jason applies stun on an opponent and enters frenzy for 5 seconds. While it is active, he gains invulnerability at 125% damage boost. The frenzy prolongs for 5 seconds. Each time the user attacks would potentially kill the opponent is going to get refreshed. So, in a way, at maximum fusion is going to make Jason immortal for 15 seconds, and as long as he kills somebody, he was going to prolong it for another 5 seconds. So that's absolutely busted. You can be immortal for, let's say, tops 25 seconds. At 25 seconds, more or less, you can kill the entire enemy team. Let's be real. For each 2 vampire from this equipment, the user gains speed for 2 seconds. I don't know how great this is, but by reading it isn't really incredible. So, in a way, this piece is absolutely godlike for Jason and mediocre on any other character. This is how I can describe it. But still, on Jason it is great. I wouldn't say that the rest of the pieces are godlike. The Enigmatic Well of Souls, it isn't godlike on Shang Tsung. The Necromancer Death Favor, it isn't godlike on Quan Chi. And the Noble Dainty Gesture isn't godlike on Kitana at low fusion. Probably at high fusion is going to be much, much better on any Kitana. Alright guys, let's review the last epic, the last rare piece, which is the Midnight Stalker Sight. 31% basic attack and block for chance, no matter what. Not like the epic, no matter what. Achieving 90% of special attack to apply silence for 8 seconds. That's pretty cool. And look at this, gain 0.1 bar of power on each block breaker attack. It sounds pretty good. However, I need to test the last effect. If the last effect really, really works well, then probably this piece is going to be, again, I wouldn't say that it's going to be better than the epic one, but it will come close. Alright guys, so let me know what you think about the epic pieces in the game. What I think is that the first 2 epic pieces that we got with update 5.0 were total trash, the Well of Souls and the Dead Favor. The second 2 epics that we got, the Noble Dainty Gesture and the Midnight Stalker Curse, are better. However, I still haven't seen an extremely good piece that comes from the crypt. Again, the Midnight Stalker Curse is godlike on Jason, but if you place it on anybody else, it isn't really great. This piece is actually decent on anybody, but it isn't godlike. So I want to see a godlike epic piece from the crypt, and I hope that they're going to give it to us sooner or later. Alright guys, I hope you found this video useful. Please let me know what you think about the epics, and see you next time. Take care.